Morning, everyone. Earlier today, House Democrats met with Secretary Javier Becerra. And it was an illustration of the two different approaches that House Democrats and House Republicans are taking as it relates to solving problems with the American people. House Democrats met with Secretary Becerra to talk about implementation of our efforts to negotiate lower drug prices for everyday Americans, to strengthen access to affordable health care, and to discuss our efforts around things like capping the cost of insulin for everyday Americans at $35 a month. That's how House Democrats spent this morning. House Republicans spent this morning talking about their illegitimate impeachment inquiry, which is nothing more than a partisan political stunt, because there's no evidence of wrongdoing with respect to President Biden. And they spent the morning talking about shutting down the government, which will crash the economy and hurt everyday Americans. House Democrats are going to continue to put people over politics. That's our focus. That's our agenda. That's our belief in what members of Congress should be doing here in Washington. People over politics. Fighting for lower costs and better paying jobs and safer communities and growing the middle class. What's the House Republican agenda? The extreme MAGA Republican agenda? Shut down the government, crash the economy, illegitimately impeach President Joe Biden, and jam their right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people, including marching America toward a nationwide abortion ban. Questions? The body matter is pending before a court is ongoing litigation, and so there's nothing further for me to add to that case. There's no evidence that President engaged in wrongdoing. There's not a shred of evidence that President Biden committed an impeachable offense. There was not a shred of evidence that President Biden broke the law. It's illegitimate. Impeachment inquiry is a partisan political stunt, period. Full stop. Why are we dealing with it? Because Donald Trump ordered the Supreme, the extreme MAGA Republicans to launch the impeachment inquiry. That's it. That's the reason. And so our approach is going to be to present the facts and the truth to the American people. Yes, she absolutely is the right running mate for President Biden. And she's done a phenomenal job as vice president, particularly when it comes to leaning in to our values as Democrats with respect to a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions. Vice President Harris has made clear that we're going to continue works for everyday Americans, and we're going to do that. Vice President Harris has made clear that we believe in truth and reconciliation, as opposed to some of the extremists on the other side of the aisle who want to embrace African American history. Second row, thanks. It's my hope that there can be a resolution reached that provides the UAW
let's see what happens in terms of whether they move forward or not with any kind of action. But to the extent that that occurs, I certainly have more to say as it relates to my solidarity with the UAW workers. As Republicans have made clear that they are determined to shut down the government and try to jam the extreme right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people. We believe, as House Democrats, that we should continue to find common ground. And it also appears that Senate Republicans share our views as well. And so you have House Democrats, Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, and President Biden and the administration all in lockstep. That we reached an agreement as it relates to spending levels that provide for the health, the safety, and economic well-being of the American people. It was passed into law. It was bipartisan in nature. House Democrats overwhelmingly supported that agreement. It's an agreement that protected Social Security,
Protected Medicare, protected Medicaid, protected public education.
believe that we should stick with that agreement.
Extreme Republicans are the only ones in Washington who are trying to breach that agreement.
The effort to undermine the health, the safety, and economic well-being of the American people because they want to jam their extreme right-wing ideology down the throats of everyday Americans by doing things like restricting the ability of women in the military to be able to make their own reproductive health care decisions if they are in restrictive states. That's none of the business of these right-wing politicians. But that's one of the reasons why they're marching us toward a government shutdown, and it's wrong. I've not talked to Speaker McCarthy yet.
About a continuing resolution.
I've spoken to Leader Schumer, and we're both in agreement that the only way forward is a bipartisan path that funds the government at the current fiscal year levels and deals with some of the requests that President Biden has made with respect to disaster relief funding the effort in Ukraine, and also dealing with the border security dynamics in terms of making sure that the requests made by the Biden administration are addressed. The defense appropriations bill is a non-starter for a variety of reasons, focused primarily on the fact that the legislation is not designed to ensure that our military is in a state of readiness. The Republicans are using the defense appropriations bill to jam the right-wing ideology down the throats of military women, men, and families. That is wrong. And by the way, last time I checked, they can't even bring the defense appropriations bill to the floor because they totally lost control of the floor to the extremists who are running the House Republican conference. That's why they shut down the government. That's why they're trying to impeach the president illegitimately as part of the partisan political stunt. House Republicans are Santos and Donald Trump. That's who's running the circus right now. And it is a three-ring circus. In ring one,
shut down the government. Ring two, ring three,
the ideology that opposed to the American people. So, the American people right now are seeing a clear contrast. House Democrats are fighting to make life better for everyday Americans. More money, more time, more freedom. More money in your pockets, more time with your children and your families, more freedom, including the freedom to make your own reproductive health care decisions. House Republicans are fighting each other. You know what it means for everyday Americans? More chaos, more dysfunction, and more extremism. It's sad, it's dangerous, and it's pathetic.
I think President Biden submitted a budget
Designed to do several things. One, to protect and strengthen Social Security and Medicare. Two, to reduce the deficit and address our nation's debt. And three, build an economy that works for everyday Americans, that grows the middle class, that's built from the middle out and the bottom up. If we continue to be able to grow our economy, as President Biden has done up until this day, that will allow us to address many of the fiscal challenges that are before us.
But we also need to look for that every American, every corporate
Pays their fair share. I think that's also part of the discussion that should occur as we move forward. Republicans blew a dramatic deficit and skyrocketed our nation's debt in 2017 when they passed the GOP tax scam. 83% of the benefits went to the wealthiest 1% in the United States of America, subsidizing the lifestyles of the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, and exploded the debt like $2 trillion and forced everyday Americans to pay for it.
many of the provisions from the GOP tax scam expire
In 2 years. And we'll have an opportunity to take a real close look at that dynamic and to help right our fiscal ship.
We clearly have and we need to, in a bipartisan way. And then with two principles. One, America is what gives us a lot of our
Competitiveness and dynamism. We also are a nation anchored in the principle of the rule of law. And we have to make sure that we can strengthen our security at the border. We want to do both as Democrats. But certainly do it in a humane and compassionate way that, of course, respects the principles of our country as a nation anchored in the rule of law. And it's unfortunate because the extreme right Republicans at this moment have no interest in addressing any issues at the border. They have no interest in addressing our immigration system because they just want to play partisan political games in the area of immigration and in many other areas as well.
common ground with the other side of the aisle. Possible to address the affect the day-to-day life that relates to the economy, lowering costs, that relates to reproductive, relates to safer communities, it relates to providing disaster people in Hawaii or Vermont. Doesn't matter whether you live in a so-called, we're all Americans, all impacted events in the climate crisis, and it's
addressing the gun violence epidemic. We want to find common ground with the other side out on all of those issues. But the extreme right Republicans are again focused on the wrong things. They're focused on shutting down the government. They're legitimately pursuing an
impeachment inquiry with respect to President.
In terms of the defense bill and all the other appropriations bills, as opposed to proceeding in a bipartisan way, which is exactly what the Senate Republicans and the Senate Democrats are doing at this moment responsibly. Extreme right Republicans are focused on loading up these appropriations bills with their right-wing illogical wish list. The House is unable to function at this moment under extreme right Republican leadership. And we believe they are barreling the American people toward a government shutdown that may crash the economy and certainly will hurt everyday Americans. I think I've said the same things privately that I've said publicly. I strongly support President Biden. He has an incredible track record of success and accomplishments on behalf of the American people, including infrastructure, investment in jobs act, clean water in every community.
The Chips and Science Act, bringing domestic manufacturing to the United States of America, and the inflation
lowered the cost of insulin to $35 an hour, and that I am going to continue to keep the focus, the track record of accomplishments that is extraordinary. The President Chief future to really bring the American dream to life in every single zip code. And the danger
that the extreme MAGA Republicans
present to this nation.
Do you worry that it's fighting
No.
and can also get you to react?
I haven't seen that particular report, but I look forward to evaluating it in terms of the farm bill. In the legislative area where in the past, Democrats and Republicans have worked together. And it's our continued hope that we'll be able to do that to support our nation's farmers and to support the need to meet the nutritional needs of the American people all across America, in urban America, in rural America, in suburban America, in exurban America, in small town America, in the heartland of America, and in Appalachia. The Farm Bill should not be a divisive area. It is fertile ground for cooperation and for common ground and for coming together. The only problem now is that with us, which is what the American people would like to see happen. We reached a bipartisan agreement. More than 300 members of the House supported the resolution of the default crisis and set top-line spending numbers designed to meet the needs of the American people. President Biden
is committed to adhering. House Democrats are committing to that agreement. Senate committed to adhering to that. Democrats are committed.
What's the problem? It's obvious. Extreme like Republicans. And so hopefully they will work it out so that we avoid a catastrophic government shutdown. But again, we're focused on fighting for everyday Americans. Extreme right Republicans are focused on fighting each other. Extreme right Republicans temporarily hold the gavels. Extreme right Republicans are responsible for passing the law. A very positive conversation with Mayor Adams over the weekend about finding a path forward. We all agree that we need to substantively do everything possible to address the migrant situation.
In New York, the congressional delegate very clear that we believe one of the sure that the migrants are advised to be able
In New York City or beyond, while they are waiting for final determination on their asylum applications.
logical, it makes sense. The American people
Second, while people are going through the immigration process waiting for a final determination on asylum, they should be able to work so they can take care of themselves and their family. It's a logical way forward. There are some obstacles that exist under the law in that regard. We're committed to working with the Biden administration to try to see what legal avenues are available to temporarily provide work authorizations as the asylum applicants await determination. With respect to whether New York City is going to be able to manage the situation, New York City is always able to manage whatever moment, whatever disturbance, whatever
crisis impacts
out New York City. People counted out New York City in the 1970s fiscal crisis. We overcame it. People counted out New York City during the midst of the crack cocaine epidemic, 2,000 plus homicides every year, murder capital of the world, some say. We overcame it. We counted out New York City when the towers were struck, impacting Lower Manhattan and the financial district. Thousands of lives tragically lost. York City, superstorm city. People counted out New York City when the pandemic hit and we were ground zero. We became, people counted us out when Dodgers left.
New York City overcoming. I'm a Yankees fan, but I stick by it.